And somebody that is a legal immigrant whose parents worked so hard to bring us here the legal way, and also as somebody who is a victim of an illegal immigrant criminal. My own dad was killed by a drunk driver who was an illegal immigrant in this country that was here for over 10 years illegally. Yeah, I got a little bit of a dog in this fight. What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. So you can see up here, the title of the article says, Trump's border czar Tom Homan blasts Jasmine Crockett after she said he was in over his head. Quote, I forgot more about immigration than she'll ever know. So if you guys don't know who Jasmine Crockett is, she is a representative from Texas, the Dallas area, I believe. And she's basically going after Tom Homan and saying that he doesn't know what he's doing, and doing the mass deportation is problematic. And he basically fires back at her saying that, hey, you're clueless. You don't know what you're talking about. He has way more experience than she does, especially at this, pertaining to this subject matter. So before we watch Tom Homan's reaction to what Jasmine says, let's watch Jasmine's take on this on, I think it was ABC or MSNBC first, and then we'll see what Tom is talking about. Let's get into it. But before we do, guys, please hit the like button down below. And of course, if you're brand new, consider hitting subscribe.
Democrat from Texas and member of the Oversight and Agricultural Committees. All right, Congresswoman, when you hear those remarks, what are your initial thoughts?
Again, we have someone who doesn't know what he's doing. And, this idea of, oh, you're illegal and then you go out and have a child. It's not quite that simple, especially when you have people that are doing things like seeking asylum and people that are saying, listen, I'm just trying to make sure that I can live a better life here in the United States. And I want to do everything that I can to become an American citizen or at least get some sort of legal status. And you have, Trump that goes out there, him and his minions, and they say things like, you know what, we're only going to get rid of the bad ones, right? And so people sit there and they're like, wait a minute, you're going to come to my job where I'm working and I may be paying into taxes or whatever, or my kids are at school. I think that there's going to be a rude awakening really on all sides.
There's also, to me, the idea that vulnerable women without access to health care or birth control may or may not be choosing whether or not they are conceiving a child, but I'll leave that there. Yeah. Homan also said family detention centers could play a role in deportation efforts, and he added that those facilities would not be jails, but, quote, open-air campuses designed for families. I'm not sure access to fresh air was a lot of people's issue with that policy, but I'm wondering how plausible that sounds to you.
I'm curious to know if he's ever been to a jail or a prison. The reality is that these are nothing more than detention camps that look a lot like jails and prisons. I mean, obviously, there's what they call the yard when you go to a prison, and that is an open air facility. But, there's always been a lack of humanity when it comes to immigration and this administration. If people remember the separation before, they may remember that, but they may not remember how much money it cost the United States when we were sued about the fact that these families were separated.
And deportations themselves are a really expensive prospect.
Right. We know, Texas is like, hey, we will go ahead and give you the land to do what you want to do. But we know that there takes officers, right? So we're talking about needing to hire more officers to execute this. We are talking about you can't just throw people into facilities. You've got to make sure that you feed them, got to make sure that you're keeping them healthy.
Right, and those needs expand if you're talking about children and families as well.
Exactly. So it's going to cost us monetarily up front, but it's also going to cost us because we know, again, that so many of these people are actually contributing to our economy.
So there you have it, guys. There you have it. Now, of course, I don't expect anything thoughtful or genuine to come out of Jasmine Crockett. She always loves to spin the narrative and not be 100% honest, right? Everybody knows they're talking about illegal immigrants, right? If you're an illegal immigrant and you jumped the border, you were smuggled in, you didn't go through the port of entries, and or if you are an immigrant that is here illegally and you committed a crime, then you would be deported, right? But let's watch Tom Homan's reaction to what Jasmine Crockett has to say, and then I'll give my take at the end.
Absolutely right. It's frustrating because anytime you say something, it seems the left just completely twists it, runs with it. I want to play you a video of Texas Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett talking about your capabilities on MSNBC this weekend.
Again, we have someone who doesn't know what he's doing. And, you know, this idea of, oh, you know, you're illegal and then you go out and have a child. It's not quite that simple, especially when you have people that are doing things like seeking asylum and people that are saying, listen, I'm just trying to make sure that I can live a better life. And you have, you know, Trump that goes out there, him and his minions, and they say things like, you know what, we're only going to get rid of the bad ones, right? And so people sit there and they're like, wait a minute, you're going to come to my job where I'm working and I may be paying into taxes or whatever, or my kids are at school. You know, I think that there's going to be a rude awakening really on all sides.
Doesn't know what he's doing. Tom, just to go through some of your background, a Border Patrol agent, an investigator, a special agent, supervisor, special agent, assistant director of investigations. I mean, the list goes on and on. You are so beyond qualified. What's your response to that?
Well, look, I forgot more about this issue than she'll ever know. I mean, for God's sakes, I've been doing it for 34 years. But look, there has been a rude awakening. That rude awakening was in November at the election. There was a rude awakening that American people are sick of an open border. American people are sick of illegal alien crime in this country. I mean, how many young women had to be raped and murdered and burned alive? How many MS-13 and Trinidad Guaya had to be in our major cities committing crimes against U.S. citizens? How many angel moms and dads do we have to have in this country that lost their children at the hands of somebody that wasn't supposed to be here, and they buried their children? You want to talk about family separation. And as far as family detention, all of a sudden the discussion goes from family detention to family separation. Family detention is the complete opposite of family separation. So look, I don't know who this lady is. Apparently she's not real smart. But as you can say what you want, look, I made this clear. I don't care what they say about Tom Homan. Because, you know, I've done this job for a long time. I think the president got a mandate in November. He called me to help me fix the border. And look, under the Trump administration, we have the most secure border in my lifetime. We're going to get that secure border again because secure border saves lives, and no one can argue that. Under the Biden administration, we got a historic number of aliens have died across this border, nearly 4,000. An historic number of Americans, over 250,000, died from fentanyl comes across that border. Their policies are killing Americans at record numbers. They're killing aliens at record numbers. President Trump is going to secure this border and save lives, just not of Americans, but of aliens too. A secure border saves lives. That's exactly what we're going to do to start.
Yeah, so there you have it. And I mean, I can't wait till these people, you know, Tom Homan and Trump actually implement these deportations so I can witness these liberals and Democrats cry over and over again because they deserve it. And somebody that is a legal immigrant whose parents worked so hard to bring us here the legal way, and also as somebody who is a victim of an illegal immigrant criminal. My own dad was killed by a drunk driver who was an illegal immigrant in this country that was here for over 10 years illegally. Yeah, I got a little bit of a dog in this fight, right? And I just hate how dishonest they are when they talk about this whole immigration situation, because it's very simple. If you are an illegal immigrant that if you came to the country without going through the ports of entry, or you didn't go through an embassy or the legal way, I mean, it's really simple. If you didn't come in here the legal way, then yes, you deserve to be deported and sent back, and just get back in line and do it the proper way. And they want to say, oh, well, what about the kids that are here, you know, that were born to these migrants? Well, those kids are technically illegal as well. If your parents are here illegally, they jumped the border, they overstayed their visa, or, you know, they got smuggled in somehow and decided to have a kid while being in this country illegally. I don't know why you would even do that. Then yes, you're technically an illegal as well. Your parents, I mean, they shouldn't have been here to begin with. So this whole loophole of birthright because you were born in this country is nonsense, especially when it comes down to illegal immigrants. It's not complicated. And she's talking about what is the cost. What about the cost of deporting these people? Well, what about the cost of importing these people? Right? This is so funny. They never complain about the cost of sheltering these migrants, feeding these migrants, and, you know, putting them in, you know, housing and all of these social safety nets that they're getting from the government. They never complain about the cost of that, but they want to complain about the cost of sending them back. The person that you have to hold responsible for the cost of mass deportation is Joe Biden and Democrats. They shouldn't have let them in to begin with. So technically, it's your fault, their fault, that all of these costs are accruing. Right? It's hilarious. Oh, they're gonna put them in deportation camps. What's the difference between a deportation camp and a migrant shelter? They're all in the same place. What's the difference? I don't understand. Y'all call them migrant centers, but you want to demonize the deportation camps and make them seem like there's some type of concentration camp. This is nonsense. What's the difference? They're in camps right now. It's called a migrant shelter. And it's actually a good idea to keep these people in a separate area until they've been vetted. Why would you release them to the mass population without even seeing who these people are, if they're a criminal, if they have a background? Why would you do that? So it would make sense to keep them secluded, find out who they are, do their backgrounds, see why they're here to begin with, and then maybe integrate them to the larger population. This is nonsense. This is nonsense. The way that Jasmine Crockett frames this whole migrant situation, oh, they're going to come and round them up while they're at work at their jobs. Well, they shouldn't be working anyway. I don't understand this. You're saying all of the things that they should not be doing. You should not be having kids in here if you're illegal. You should not be working if you're illegal. You're taking away jobs from Americans and driving down wages. None of these things should be happening to begin with. I don't get it. I truly, truly don't get this woman. But anyway, let me know what you guys think, man. Hope you enjoyed this video. Let's talk about it in the comment section. And of course, if you're brand new, consider hitting subscribe.